What's up, guys? Happy NFL Week 1. It's finally here, and I'm so stoked for the full season of content on this channel, of premium content at rundfs.com. And of course, you can find me popping up all over the place these days. So if you haven't been around the channel in a while, welcome back. We still do baseball every day. If you're new to the channel, we do a whole lot of daily fantasy sports coverage and content. We have baseball, NFL, and basketball in about a month and a half. And if you like some spins with a little bit of flavor, man, we would love for you to stick around. So hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. Today we're going to talk about some picks early on for week 1 that are kind of sticking out to me. Before we go any further, I do want to announce that the rundfs.com NFL week 1 spreadsheet is up and available for those of you with active VIP subscriptions at rundfs.com. If you don't have one, go check out the new website, rundfs.com. Click VIP memberships, get yourself signed up, get the spreadsheet, but more importantly, get into that rundfs.com premium Discord. We will have several strategy discussions over the course of the week. And of course, we've got some really big hitters in that Discord, including Millie makers from NFL last year. So a lot of sharp minds to talk about in the spreadsheet this week. You will have the new look week 1 game portal. It's going to feature projections and stats from last year per game. This will be more valuable going forward as we get more of a sample size week to week. I have single game projections for the showdown on Thursday night with Dallas and Tampa. We'll also have a video on this channel for that coming soon. We have the week 1 overall Sunday projections, which looks a little something like this. I have DraftKings, FanDuel, and Yahoo calculated in that. And then I made a DK tiers page in the spreadsheet. So if you guys want to try out tiers for NFL, I definitely recommend you guys go and try to get all the money, because there's so much money that you guys might be able to peruse through here. Might find some added value in that, because I don't think tiers gets the coverage that it necessarily deserves. And DFS is all about contest selection and getting the most expected value out of your dollar. Anyway, rundfs.com, get yourself signed up, get a VIP membership, and come hang out with us for the season, and let's make some money. Let's get into the picks here. The first quarterback I want to talk about is Matt Ryan, 6K. Hey, there's going to be a lot of easy paths to get to the high-priced quarterbacks, but I kind of want to prioritize the high-priced running backs, right? Give me the CMCs, the Kamaras, the Cooks, and quarterback tends to be a little bit more interchangeable value-wise as a position due to its tax scoring, right? 4 points for a passing touchdown, 1 point for 20 passing yards versus what you get for rushing touchdowns and running yards. Matt Ryan, he's going to open the Falcons season against the Philadelphia Eagles, and they kind of carry a funnel defense reputation, forcing you to pass against them. And that's something the Falcons are prepared to do. They got a new head coach in Arthur Smith, and their receiving core, well, involves Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, Kyle Pitts, Hayden Hurst, and Mike Davis, who was literally a poor man's Christian McCaffrey for the Panthers at times during CMC's injuries. That's going to give Matt Ryan a lot of potential to accrue fantasy points quick, fast, and in a hurry. Matt Ryan averages almost 40 pass attempts per game over his last 30 games. So lots of opportunity to rack up some fantasy points there. I'm kind of digging him early, and I love the handcuff potentials and the correlations. You can stack them with a couple of guys that we'll talk about later in this video. The next guy I'm going to talk about is on the other side of Matt Ryan, Jalen Hurts, 6,400 quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. Hey, the jury's still out on Jalen Hurts as a passer. Just a 52% completion rate last year with a 6-4 touchdown to interception ratio. With that said, for fantasy, he can offer a huge floor with his exciting rushing ability, and rushing yards are more valuable than passing yards. A reasonable expectation for him probably gives you a 6 to 8 point floor off of rushing alone, and he can find the end zone on his feet. I'm willing to give him an opportunity to be in my lineups as almost a run naked option, meaning he's one of the few quarterbacks I won't necessarily force in a wide receiver stack or a tight end stack. I still think you can. I think Goddard, Zach Ertz, he's plenty of options, Jalen Reagor, something like that. But Hurts does give me a realistic shot at 1 to 2 rushing touchdowns. So Hurts is going to be in the mix for me. Don't know if he's going to be the starting quarterback for long, but I don't think he gets benched in week 1, and I think he's got a real shot at 20-plus DKP, and I'll take that at 6,400. Lastly, Aaron Rodgers, 6,800. The MVP is back, teaming up with his buddy Davante Adams after a controversial offseason. He's going to face the displaced Saints team out in Jacksonville in Florida. Rodgers has been matchup-proof through the years, and I don't doubt his ability to spam Davante Adams against any matchup, but much less a weakened Saints secondary. We've seen Rodgers push 8K on Draftkings last year, so a reduced rate here is kind of welcome, 6,800 on a slate where we don't need more value. I'm in on Aaron Rodgers, and I love the player grouping I can kind of make to throw a blanket over the touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams, maybe Robert Tonyan, and Aaron Jones would be the front end there. But you could stretch out to MVS a little bit, maybe even some Cobb if you're a little freaky. But I think the front four really give the most upside. So give me Aaron Rodgers, and those are the first three quarterbacks I'm kind of eyeing early on. Let me know what quarterbacks you guys are thinking about. Let's move on to the running back position. Not going to get too creative with these first two picks. Dalvin Cook, 9,100. The game script bodes pretty well for Dalvin Cook as the Vikings open their season against the Cincinnati Bengals, who did not do much to improve a struggling defense from last year. It's kind of hard to see Dalvin getting less than 25 touches between carries and targets, and that type of volume is hard to pass up with pricing so soft this week. So Dalvin Cook, he's not going to be a secret. He's not going to be low owned, but I don't really need to get overly creative. I'll let some of the overthinkers get on the mistake sides of the Cooks, of the McCaffrey, of the Kamara exposures, you know? That same line of thinking, Christian McCaffrey, $9,500 on DraftKings. If I'm going to get beat, it's not because I have low exposure to CMC or Dalvin Cook. Christian McCaffrey, he's offered less than 20 DraftKings points once in his last 15 starts, and he's hit 28 DKP or more in 10 of those games. His volume's going to trump the matchup week to week for me. And in the softest price slate of the year, I'm not going to miss out on the high floor, high ceiling CMC. He has a legitimate chance every week he touches the football field to be the highest raw point getter on the slate, and that plays for me no matter what the price. I'm going to let the field make the mistakes on being low on the big boys. I'm in on Christian McCaffrey. Let's move on. Let's not give you all the obvious high-price running backs. I'm going to feed you two guys I'm kind of digging for mid-tiers. I do want to mention I'm also really high on Alvin Kamara, but I felt like it would be really cheap to really go Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara. So know that I do like Kamara, but I want to talk about two guys that can be that I think could be underpriced when we look back at week 1 in like week 5. Joe Mixon, he's 6,200 on DraftKings. Underpriced volume is what I really want to hunt at every position to start for my multi-mass entry exposures. And Joe Mixon could be at a 2K discount this week versus what his role with the Bengals will evolve to be. Bengals will finally have moved on from Gio Bernard and AJ Green, and this is Joe Mixon's backfield now. And before he went down after week 6 due to injury last season, in the 6 games we did get out of him, we saw him net at least 20 touches per game. In 3 of those games, he saw 4 or more targets. And I love targets out of the running back position for PPR, especially on DraftKings. Positive game script here for pass-catching running backs with the Bengals projected to be underdogs against the aforementioned Vikings. A little correlation note. Oftentimes you don't see running backs going against each other being optimal, so maybe don't forget to set a rule like that for Dalvin Cook versus Mixon. But the PPR potential still exists, and I do think 6,200 is probably too soft for Joe Mixon versus what his role will be. So I'm going to have a decent chunk of Joe Mixon exposure this weekend. And in that same kind of line of thought, but maybe a little bit more excitement because of a couple $100 savings and a little bit more potential to be featured in his offense. Mixon will still have a really hyped up receiving core around him. T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, guys like that. Let's talk about Antonio Gibson. Let's go to the Washington football team. He's 5,900 on Draftkings. There's a chance Antonio Gibson becomes one of the highest volume slash PPR upside running backs in the league this season. And we might regret the days we didn't insta-click his name at 5,900. Gibson's a college receiver turned running back, and he's kind of been muddled the past few years in a sea of problems for the worst run organization in all of football, arguably in all of pro sports. It's a new day in Washington under mostly new management. A competent quarterback in Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Antonio Gibson's committee mates of yesteryear are no longer on the team. In the preseason, Ron Rivera noted that Gibson had a skill set like Christian McCaffrey, and indications are that they want to use him as such. I'm buying low price-wise for what could be a massive breakout year for Antonio Gibson, and I could go on for hours about why I really think this could be a big year for him. So 5,900, yeah, you're going to get me some Antonio Gibson this weekend, and that's going to end my running back discussion here. Again, let me know what you guys are thinking at running back. Are there any sneaky guys in this low price range, right? I think it's pretty obvious for everyone to point at Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, and Alvin Kamara. But who are the guys in the middle, the sleepers, so to speak, that you're kind of digging? I know Austin Eckler is somebody that I think could compete as one of the highest PPR running backs of the season. Are you there this week? Are you willing to go more him versus some of the other high-priced guys? I'm very, very curious. So be sure to interact with the comments below. Let me know what you're doing. Let's move on to the wide receiver spot. Let's get started. Again, probably hear his name a lot this week. You might get sick of it. Calvin Ridley. He's 7,900. Atlanta Falcons. Calvin Ridley's on the fast track to becoming the highest owned wide receiver on the slate, but you can't really fault the field here. In his last 10 games without Julio Jones, he's averaging over 10 targets per game. And he has a real chance to become an Antonio Brown prime 9K receiver this season from a couple years ago. And 7,900 in PPR is really too light to pass up. I mentioned it when talking about Matt Ryan. Ryan has essentially been a 40 pass attempt guy per game, and this is a offense that I expect to be pretty pass heavy. So it's really not crazy to expect Calvin Ridley to lead the league in targets or receptions this season. And at 7,900, he has room to go up in price. And I don't mind taking some burners against the Philadelphia Eagles to start, right? Let's move on. Keenan Allen, 6,900 for the Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers. I still almost said San Diego. Hey, did you know Keenan Allen's only 29 years old? He should be featured in this Chargers offense yet again. He's always a leader in market share for touches in the Chargers offense when he's healthy, and he racks up a high floor for PPR formats, averaging over 10 targets a game last season and almost 10 targets a game on average over his last 30 games. Chargers led the league in plays per game last year, and Justin Herbert threw nearly 40 times a game. Tight end Hunter Henry has moved on, and I expect Keenan and Austin Eckler to be the top targets for him this season. 6,900 is a nice price, but getting the 100-yard bonus and a touchdown would be even sweeter. The next couple of names I want to talk about are receiver guys that I think could be wide receiver ones for their team, and maybe the pricing isn't where it should be versus what their volume is. So some of these guys may not have great matchups, but the volume sometimes will trump the matchup for me based on the price, or I just think it's a bad price. So the first guy I'm going to talk about is T. Higgins. It's 4,700, Cincinnati Bengals. T. Higgins ended last year as the Bengals' lead receiver, and although it was a tricky season with the Joe Burrow injury, the Joe Mixon injury, I'm still encouraged at Higgins' role in this offense going forward in the post-A.J. Green era. The Bengals are underdogs against the Vikings. That bodes well game script-wise for a strong passing attack, a high-volume passing attack, and a potential wide receiver one market share for T. Higgins here. Jamar Chase did have a fantastic preseason, so maybe expect him to be not trusted as much out of the gate, even though he does have a rapport historically with Joe Burrow. And then Tyler Boyd is still a problem, and I do think it's reasonable to suggest that Boyd could be a leader in targets with Mixon there as well. But I think the potential for T. Higgins at 4,700 as a home dog, there's some upside there. And in my spreadsheet projection so far this week, Higgins has been projected as one of the top value plays in my algorithm. So I'm keeping a strong eye on that and trying to keep my ear to the ground and adjust accordingly as we go forward. Next guy up, Marquez Callaway, New Orleans Saints, 3,400. Callaway's going to be pretty hyped up this week. A lot of buzz on him after Michael Thomas was confirmed out to start the season. The preseason is any indication, Winston will look to him as the wide receiver 1 option. And they are playing against the Packers and projected to play from behind. And Jameis Winston, we know he can be a gunslinger and take some crazy shots. So expect him to look Callaway's way for some home run balls and perhaps lead all receivers in targets. I do think he's going to garner the attention of Jair Alexander because he is now the wide receiver 1 by de facto. So that might have me considering some tournament leverage fade opportunities, but 3,400, man. If you get 10 plus, 15 plus at this price point, that dog just might hunt. So I can't really push back too hard because of the price point. Lastly, let's talk about the tight end position. I'm really on one tight end so far to start the week. I think this is going to be a pretty volatile position with a couple of guys I'll gravitate towards. But I think that the guy that's kind of in the sweet spot for me right now is Kyle Pitts. He's 4,400 on Draftkings. Don't think that the Atlanta Falcons spent the number 4 overall pick on Kyle Pitts without intentions of getting him involved liberally, quick, fast, and in a hurry. You're going to see his freakish skill set on highlight reels all year long, and he's likely to be second to just Calvin Ridley in usage. We might see a Darren Waller-esque rookie season for Kyle Pitts here, and I think his price can only go up. So I guess, since I'm on Matt Ryan, I'm on Calvin Ridley, I'm on Kyle Pitts, I'm really on that Falcon stack. So maybe join me in the Falcon stack this week and cheers, aim for the bushes on Sunday. But I'm going to have quite a bit of Kyle Pitts because I do believe he could potentially become one of those 6K tight ends like the Kelseys, the Kittles, the Wallers, guys like that. So give me a big chunk of Kyle Pitts. Hopefully this is a position that expands for me as the week goes on. A lot of the high-end tight ends I think I will have exposure to for sure. Obviously, I'm not going to go without Travis Kelce, but he's 8,300, so you got to go up there and get him. You kind of need that big game out of him as a de facto, almost like a wide receiver 1 game. 20 plus DKP is probably the minimum I would take there. George Kittle also bodes well here, 6,300, and for the time being, he'll have Jimmy Garoppolo as the exclusive quarterback under center, and then it gets a little bit shaky, right? TJ Hawkinson, yeah, he's got Jared Goff under center, who will probably look at him quite a bit over the middle, but he's got a tough defense in the 49ers. They were pretty good at limiting opposing tight ends to fantasy points last year. Dallas Goedert's in a really good spot against the Atlanta Falcons, but Zach Ertz also exists. Jalen Hurts has a 52% completion rate, so there's a lot of pushback there to not make you feel super confident. Hunter Henry, new team for the Patriots. I think the Patriots will be pretty tight end heavy. They also have Jonnu Smith that he's got to contend with. Logan Thomas for the Washington football team. I don't mind him. He was one of the league leaders in routes ran for all tight ends last year, but they added depth to the receiving core for Washington this year. Antonio Gibson, I mentioned him, Ryan Fitzpatrick. So will Logan Thomas be getting that same role? So you get what I'm saying? There's a lot of question marks going forward. Noah Fant's a name I do kind of like now that Teddy Bridgewater is under center for Denver. I feel like more shallow A-dot passes could be coming his way, which would bode well for the tight end position. Minnesota added Chris Herndon, former Jets great, in the absence of the now injured Irv Smith. You might look for some value in the Giants at the tight end spot if Evan Ingram is unable to go. It gets really, really weird at the tight end spot. So help me out, guys. What are you guys thinking at the tight end spot? Are you there with me on the Kyle Pitts infatuation? Hopefully you are. And we will have more NFL content coming this week. We'll have a showdown video for the Cowboys and Buccaneers game number 1 for Thursday night football. And like I said, get into that RunDFS.com VIP Discord and get into the spreadsheet, the tools. My personal player pool and game notes will be up for you guys to access. And we also cover baseball. So if you haven't tried baseball DFS, come test it out, man. I appreciate you guys spending a little bit of your time with a little bit of my time. And hit that thumbs up for good luck. I'll see you in the next video. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.